And it's been a 4-month-long battle. Nearly 1,800 people have been killed. And whilst never being an important strategic target, it became a symbol of the fight against the Islamic State group. Now, though, Kurdish fighters have succeeded in driving the last Islamic State group fighters out of the Syrian town of Kobane. They've raised their flags over Kobane, dealing the jihadists an important blow after months and months of heavy fighting. In more good news across the border in Iraq, a top army officer announcing that troops had also liberated the whole of Diyala province from IS jihadists. A little earlier, I spoke to our correspondent in Ankara, Jasper Mortimer.
If you want to examine the significance of Kobane, you have to go back to mid-September when the battle began. ISIS was then on a roll. It had taken one town after the other across Iraq and Syria. So Kobane became an opportunity to stop the ISIS monster, a test of the world's willpower to stand up to the atrocities that ISIS had been committing. At the moment now in Kobane, it's quite clear that the Kurds have won, but ISIS still controls the surrounding villages. In a sense, Kobane is an island in an ISIS sea. Fortunately for the town, on the northern side of it is Turkey, and Turkey will become a lifeline in reconstructing Kobane. I think another significance is militarily. It was a successful combination of local ground forces and US air power. Whenever the Kurdish fighters fighting ISIS got into trouble, they called in the US Air Force. And I think the Pentagon will be looking at where this formula of closely coordinated local forces and air power can be applied elsewhere in Iraq and Syria.
So, Jasper, where does this leave then the Islamic State group now?
Well, ISIS has strengths and weaknesses. Economically, it's rich. It controls oil fields in Iraq and Syria. And if you've got money, you can recruit. Politically, it's weak. If there were elections tomorrow, ISIS would not be able to translate its firepower into votes. It depends on its military force, and militarily it still controls large swathes of Iraq and Syria. And the last few months have shown that it's only the Kurdish forces that can roll ISIS back. But the Kurds are only in the north of Syria and the north of Iraq. You can't expect Kurds to drive ISIS out of the whole of Syria and Iraq. For that, you've got to strengthen the Iraqi army. You've got to strengthen the moderate Syrian forces. And experts say that is a long way off.